Okay, we're live. This is Willie Jones, and you've tuned in to another edition of the Women for Progress Radio Network. I am so excited today to be launching a new program on behalf of Women for Progress Radio Network. We have recently been introduced to one of the most incredible women on the planet, Miss Frances Smith Dean, who is doing amazing things by helping individuals and organizations and entrepreneurs and so many others create wealth. And this is the first Thursday of the month. And every first Thursday of each month, she will be joining us for an entire hour, educating us, walking us through the process, holding our hands, and empowering us in ways that's just going to be unbelievable. So I want you to mark your calendars. Make sure that you have the first Thursday date from 12 to 1 p.m. every first Thursday in your calendar. We want you to share it with families and friends. And if you would like to share this episode after the show with your family and friends, we want you to go to the Women for Progress Facebook page, go to videos, and you can share that. Also, every time we go live, we are also available at womenforprogressradio.com, womenforprogressradio.com. We have some folks who say, I don't want to dial into Facebook, but I do want to watch the podcast and want to get this good information. But just tune in every first Thursday to womenforprogressradio.com. And as soon as you put that in the browser, boom, she's going to be big and live right there. Thank you. Also, these podcast radio programming can also be made available. It is being made available wherever you get your podcasts: Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spreaker Radio. All you have to do is put in Women for Progress Radio, and the most recent show will be there, and you can also review other archive shows. So we are so excited to be launching this program. I'm going to be tuning in, but I'm going to be backing away because she's going to have the entire stage for herself today. And Frances, thank you for joining us. We're so excited about what you're doing.
Thank you so much, Willie. I appreciate this opportunity to share with our audience, as well as I want to say thank you for having this platform and inviting me, and to all of the members of Women for Progress. You guys are doing phenomenal work within the community. This is a grassroots organization, and I'm going to really encourage more women to become involved through membership, because there are some economic challenging times ahead, and we're going to have to work together. So thank you so much, Willie, for allowing me this platform. You're such a visionary. I'm amazed at all of the things that you do. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, guys, go ahead. Willie, you want to say something?
No, I was just going to say thank you so much, and we appreciate you joining this work that we do. And I know our listeners today will be very excited. I want to remind them, if they have any questions, they can comment in the comment section of this broadcast, and we'll make sure that you get those questions that you can answer for them later. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Well, guys, thank you, and welcome to our first podcast for Women for Progress. We're looking at economics, finance, and what you need to do to navigate through these upcoming challenging times. My name is Frances Smith Dean. I'm the Executive Director of the Zan Wesley Holmes Junior Community Outreach Center, located in Dallas, Texas. And if you want to know exactly, I'm in Southern Dallas, which we call the South. I've been the executive director since January of 2018. I'm also a business owner. I am the owner of the Financial Educator, LLC, which is a for-profit business. I'm a former registered investment advisor for the Retirement Plan Advisors of Chicago. That was where my boss and his partners or operate out of. And then I'm a former college professor of Mathematics at Richland College, which is now known as the Dallas College System. So today we're going to take a look at, our title is Creating a Post-COVID Plan. Creating a Post-COVID Plan. And our agenda is as follows. First, I always like to give you the data and statistics, which is the economic portion. What is happening in the economy, what you need to know, and how you must navigate. Then we're going to look at an assessment. What must you assess? You're going to need pen and paper. Always, when you get on with me, pen and paper is a must. Next, we're going to look at creating a game plan, and then finally, implementation. So I'm going to give you some rules to the game you need to understand and what to do next. So we're going to look at the economics post-COVID so that you can understand what's really happening within the economy. Our information today comes from a report entitled Careers in Crisis Report, how Black women in the United States' largest industry were left behind in COVID-19 pandemic. The report is dated April 2021. Now, this is for the economic portion because I'm going to give you some numbers. It's from Brandeis, the IERE from Brandeis, and our contributors were Stuart G. Santos, Brahman, and Shapiro. So it's a career in crisis. And what I want you to understand is this, especially for those who are in the nonprofit industry, you need to really stay up on reports and policy that will affect the masses so that you can stay ahead of the curve. We're known for forward thinking. That's what most of the foundations and the people in the community say, because we try to get our folks ahead of troubled times. Our next thing that we're going to look at is the unemployment. 15.8 million people were unemployed or underemployed as of February 2021. 15.8. That's a lot of folks. Women have been disproportionately affected in certain sectors. One of those sectors, the government lost 45,000 jobs. 1.4 million healthcare workers lost their jobs in April 2020. Now, you would think that healthcare workers weren't affected because we were going through a pandemic, but they were. 77% of Black and Latino households reported having difficulty covering usual household expenses. So this report is telling us a lot. A lot of people are taking things for granted. They're taking that they're going to be able to get back into the employment game after the stimulus runs out. But what you're going to learn today is we have two major headwinds. These headwinds are coming because it all deals with one key thing, policy. So first we look at the economics, then we look at the policy that is about to take place so that we can understand now what's on the horizon. And then looking at it, we looked at the economics, we looked at this report. So when we're looking at policy, guys, I want you to put these two things down. The Federal Reserve will begin tapering. And then the second thing is Biden's fiscal plan. Okay, so the Federal Reserve, why is that important? Remember, our system is based on two major policies, fiscal and monetary. Why is it important for you to know both? Because they both sort of interact together in a way that you need to understand how they're going to move or shift money. So put in your notes for today, policy shifts money within the economy. So as we look at what I said originally, I said the Federal Reserve will begin tapering. What does that mean? They're going to start taking money out or not putting as much money into the economy. The Federal Reserve stepped in when COVID happened, and they were able to put money into the economy. But let me go back to something that I said earlier. Women have been disproportionately affected in certain sectors. Well, Chairman Powell told us this before COVID happened. Before COVID happened, he said in one of his statements in 2019 that women were going to be disproportionately affected. I think it was August. It was around August of 2019. And in his statement, he said, because we're coming to a new economy. What's that new economy? The fourth industrial revolution. He said technology is going to play a major role. So he had been warning us about this headwind. So that's why I'm telling you now, this headwind, we are about to face it when they begin to taper. The second thing is this. On the fiscal side, which is Congress, Biden's fiscal plan is a lot. And because of that, he's trying to create infrastructure. Now, there's some other things in the plan that you need to be aware of and you need to read. But what you have to understand is not how it's going to affect you in the short term, but how will this affect you in the long term? And as he's trying to get this $6 trillion infrastructure bill through, the Republicans have also proposed like about a $980 billion infrastructure package. I think, and I'm going to suggest to you, put in your notes, you got to get together with others and compare the packages. Don't just take it at face value based on Democrat and Republican. We can't do that anymore. We don't have the luxury of time. But we need to now begin to analyze both packages because we want what's going to be the right package for America. And I mean, not just upper or the top 1%, but the middle as well as the low income America. How is it going to benefit? How is it going to hurt? Who is going to have that tax burden? Because what you have to understand is when the Federal Reserve prints money, they're going, and when we have large fiscal plans like this, they're going into our future. They're taking future money, not current money, but future money. I just recently had a meeting with my tribe, my new tribe, and I said to them, let's look at how many times America went bankrupt. And that's why I'm saying to you today, we may be on the brink of a bankruptcy if we don't get this fiscal policy right. And bankruptcy is something that we do not want to deal with. We've had it several times, and I'm going to let you do your due diligence. And then on the next show, we could discuss how many times America went bankrupt. But because it is a we are just teetering on that limb right now. So getting this package right is going to mean a lot to all Americans, not just some, but all Americans. So let's understand on the fiscal and the monetary policy. So fiscal policy is determined by your government, your Congress, federal, state, local, austerity. It deals with taxes. So that's why I want you all to take a deep dive in a group, in a study session on this new tax plan. Also, monetary policy is determined by your Federal Reserve Bank. They control the move of money in and out of the economy. And one of those triggers is interest rates. So, interest rates and bond yields. So, when we see the bond yield and look at the 10-year yield, as we see the bond yield increase, guess what happens to money? It shifts. Currently, our stock market has been at all-time highs. Cryptocurrency has been something that people have made a lot of money in. But that 10-year yield is a signal for us to see how money shifts. I woke up this morning. I saw that the market was down. What did I look at? The 10-year yield. I saw it creeping up. So the Federal Reserve now has a lot to do with that particular indicator as well as interest rates. And what we have to understand is we need to get an even keel. What do I mean by even keel? We need to have some balance between the fiscal and the monetary, because it's like a bird flying. One wing, if it's not operating, the bird can't fly. Remember, we're eagles. We need both wings of the policy now to work hand in hand so that we can soar as Americans. So we need both. We need the fiscal as well as the monetary to work together. So here I recently said to my class, I said, now we're at a point in America where we have to look at the end of this empire because we're going into a new revolution. As we move into this fourth revolution, the end of the American empire is going through certain stages, and I'm going to discuss those stages. In 2008, at the Freedom Fest economic think tank, it's a libertarian think tank, I spoke about the 7 stages of an empire and about how our economy was going to become autonomous and how we were going to have autonomous cities. Those are called smart cities, how vehicles would change. So I'm going to go briefly over the stages, but I'm going to focus in on 2 stages of the empire. As the American way of life changes, you have to change. You don't have to become intimidated. You don't have to become afraid. You just have to begin to educate yourself. But remember, as the American empire changes, you must change too. There are 7 stages of an empire. Stage 1 is the age of pioneers. Age of conquest is stage 2. The age of commerce is stage 3. The age of affluence is stage 4. The age of intellect is stage 5. The age of decadence is stage 6. And the age of decline and collapse is stage 7. Currently, America is in stages 1 and 7. In stage 1 is the 4th Industrial Revolution. That's the age of pioneering. We are going to cast a society. In July, the Federal Reserve and MIT will begin testing the new digital currency. In stage 7, we're coming to the end of the old industrial way of work. No longer do you have to have touch paper or go into a supermarket. You can order online. You can go to the supermarket and you could have someone come to your car and place your groceries in your bag. No longer do you need to write lists down. Your refrigerator is going to talk to your car and say, you need to pick up something at 7 o'clock for your, let's say, your dinner or for your kids. So this whole new autonomous way of life is coming to us very quickly. What COVID did is shift. It was like a reset. And so I want you to understand, even though COVID was something we didn't expect, it helped us reset the way we're going to live, the way we're going to earn money, as well as the way we will move forward. So let's go particularly into the age of pioneer and the age of decline and collapse. So let's look at it. In the age of decline and collapse, the government provides extensive welfare to the poor and unemployed. Ask yourself, is that happening now? Yes, it is. Then guess what? The other thing, in the age of decline and collapse, narcissistic behavior arises in people and their leaders. Now, you already know that is happening as we speak. Facebook has made people so narcissistic that you know everything about them. So in this age of decline and collapse, we see two of the signs or signals that is happening now. Now, so that's the decline part. But now, remember I said that these stages happen simultaneously. In the age of pioneering, businessmen take high risk. And I'm going to discuss that in a minute. New systems are built. We're going to talk about that too. And new areas of conquest are taken. So let me take them one at a time. Businessmen take high risk. What do I mean when I say that? They leverage. They're leveraging up. And because they're leveraging up, because the market is allowing them to leverage up, they're taking on more risk. Number two, new systems are built. What are those new systems, Francis? One, cryptocurrency, cashless society. We're building that now. Number two, guess what? We're going to have electric cars, driverless cars, smart cities. We're going to have it so that we're going to be like the Jetsons in a sense. Currently in Dallas, you don't have to take your car to work. If like I live in North Dallas, but I drive to South Dallas. And so if I want to take a helicopter taxi, I could go to Frisco, take that helicopter taxi, and it'll drive me across town in seconds. So all of these new systems that are being built, guess what? It will allow you now more freedom, more time, and more accessibility. So let's look at number three. New areas of conquest are taken. That's happening also. If you've noticed, and I don't know if you read Bloomberg, that's one of my sources in the Wall Street Journal. I've noticed that banks now are moving to other countries. They're moving to China, while banks here in America, if you notice, branches are closing. So businesses are moving. Businesses have been moving, but they're really moving faster than they have ever moved before. So as the businesses are moving, you have to think and rethink some things. I want to invite you guys to our Juneteenth Economic Forum. We're going to talk about looking at new areas of conquest and preparing for this new normal. It will be June 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. It's going to be remote and online, so you could access our speakers there. And as we are moving into this new age of pioneering, we want you to be ready, and we want you to also be prepared. Next, assessment. So What do I mean by assessment? I mean that you have to now take a deep look at the following: job, skills, education. Ask yourself, is my degree or is my skill set outdated for this new economy? 9 times out of 10, yes. We are 10 years behind China. And because we're 10 years behind China, yes, your skill set is outdated. In order for you to now engage in a new and upwardly mobile skill set, you got to reconsider some things right now. I believe in becoming a lifelong learner, educating yourself so you can understand this new system. Next is health. I don't only want you to be wealthy and wise, I want you to be healthy. So being healthy, wealthy, and wise is going to be very, very important. Taking care of oneself. Self-care should be the number one skill that you do for yourself. Then also assess family, meaning this, have a family meeting. Assess with your children and your partners, as well as other family members, where you are, where you'd like to go, so that you all can create some timelines. Recently, I did an assessment with one of my younger cousins, and I told her, I said, look, you're going to need to go get some skills. Here is how we could work together so you could get on an upwardly mobile track. And so some of our kids or our family members are just sort of becoming eloped or drifting. You need to pull them in, have that dialogue with them, and help them sort of pave or carve out a new timeline or new way. But you got to have that discussion. Don't just think that people could figure it out. People cannot always figure things out. They need to have the discussion. Living conditions. Okay. If you're in certain areas, especially metro areas that are doing well in real estate, rent and cost of living is going to skyrocket. So I need you to assess now that whole cost of living and where you're living. And then also consider in living conditions, let's say you're in an area, it's not upwardly mobile. You may need to consider moving to areas that are more upwardly mobile where the job opportunities are. We're going to see America in transition. Texas is experiencing that now. People are moving in because why? We have a plethora of jobs. And people are moving in so that they can find work to become upwardly mobile. Opportunities. So when you look and you assess opportunities, I want you to think about it this way. I want you to look at 3 opportunities you can take advantage of. And it may be not just by yourself, but with others. A lot of times we want to do things by ourselves. This type of economy, you're going to need a team of people. And when I say that, people get a little bit upset, but you will need a team of people to make some things happen. Okay? So here, before I get to creating, let me go back. Our agenda today, we looked at economics. I started with assessment. I'm going to get to game plan and implementation. And looking at the economics, I gave you a report I want you to read or look up or research, Careers in Crisis Report, how Black women in the United States' largest industry were left behind in COVID-19 pandemic. It's an April 2021 report, and it's by Brandeis University. Also, I told you that 15.8 million people were underemployed or unemployed as of February 2021. women have been disproportionately affected in certain sectors. But I also told you, too, that we were warned by Chairman Powell of the Federal Reserve. He had been really saying we're going to a new economy. And as he had been telling us we're going to this new economy, he said it's one with technology. So he's really sounding the bell, but I don't think people are making the connection. I told you, government sector lost 45,000. 1.4 million healthcare workers. Now, these were frontline people. I know you didn't anticipate the healthcare workers to lose their jobs, but 1.4 million since April 2020. 77% of Black and Latino households reported having difficulty covering usual household expenses. And with this, you now have to be aware of policy. So policy was our next step. So we see the economic data. Now we have another headwind coming. And as the Federal Reserve sort of announced yesterday, they're going to begin tapering. That's an issue that you need to be aware of. Number two, Biden has his fiscal plan, $6 trillion infrastructure. And then the Republicans have a $980 billion. I'm asking you, sit down with a group of people, have the discussion, because you need to know how this will affect you. Why? We're taking money from our future. Also, I gave my recent tribe here in Dallas an assignment. I said, find out how many times the U.S. went bankrupt. Why? Because we're teetering on the bankruptcy if we're not careful. I'm not saying we're going to do it, but we're teetering, and you also need to know what to do and how to prepare yourself. I said fiscal policy and monetary policy give us the rules of the game. And Congress determines the fiscal policy, which also determines taxes. And monetary policy is determined by the Federal Reserve. They control how money moves in and out of the economy. Well, tapering means they're going to move money out. I said to you, the United States is coming to an end of an empire. What does that mean? Everything happens in cycles and stages, guys. And in this cycle and stage of the end of this empire, we're in between two stages. The age of pioneers, the age of conquest, the age of commerce, age of affluence, age of intellect, age of decadence, and the age of decline and collapse. I told you in 2008, I was invited to Freedom Fest, which is a libertarian think tank. I spoke about this whole collapse scenario that we were about to go through. I said to the audience about autonomous communities and how that would look during my time at Freedom Fest. And so I'm saying to you all this, you're going to have to prepare for both the decline and collapse, meaning that the old way of us doing things, and prepare for this new age of pioneering. Most people don't like change. So they're going to be lost if they're not able to navigate. Now, here's some signs in the age of decline and collapse. The government provides extensive welfare to the poor and unemployed. That's what stimulus is all about. Also, narcissistic behavior arises in the people and their leaders. Facebook has caused narcissistic behavior. No blame, but it's just the reality. And our leaders have been narcissistic. The age of pioneering. Businessmen take high risk. What did I say? Leverage. They have leveraged up. New systems are being built. That is correct. We're going to a cashless society. New areas of conquest are taken. That is correct also. We see our corporations moving into new areas of around the globe so that they can have a presence there. Now, in my third part of this presentation, we talked about assessment. I said you got to assess where you are. We are 10 years behind China every month. Your degrees or your skills, you're going to have to go back and re-educate yourself. Health is going to be important. You need to do a health assessment. Family, you got to have the conversation. I would say once a month, have a family meeting. Create a family business. Look at your living conditions and look at opportunities to do business with others. So let's look at creating the game plan. I know I talk a lot, but I want to make sure that you get the information and connect the dots. So let's start with yourself. When you create a game plan, you need to ask yourself this. Where do I want to be in the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 and 20 years? So begin to do that assessment now, but in increments of 5. Identify your strengths and weakness and be honest. We want to self-glorify ourselves, but we have to say to ourselves, look, I don't really get this aspect, so I know I need to do a little studying. I'm not good with managing money, or I'm not good in writing. So we have to do some self-assessment. Then I want you to list 3 potential opportunities and break each opportunity into 3 segments. So you're going to list 3, then you're going to take those 3 and break them up into segments: short term, medium, and long term. List 3 opportunities. So in the short term, out of the 3, which one can you do now or within a 90-day period? In a medium term, which one can you do or implement next year? And in the long term, it's something that you could do within a 5-year period. Space it out. Don't rush yourself. And don't try to take on too much. Pace yourself. It's going to be okay because you're moving in a new direction. So let's start with ourselves and creating the game plan. Where you identify your strengths, identify your weaknesses. Be honest with yourself. If you just don't know, you just don't know. It's okay. List 3 potential opportunities and break each opportunity into 3 segments. So in this particular exercise, a lot of people know my assistant, Audrey. So we sat down and we sort of did this. She said, Miss Francis, I want to be a notary. I said, okay. So Audrey created a game plan. And in her creating this game plan, when the opportunity did arise, she pulled the trigger. And for many of you out there, fear is your worst enemy. But you got to believe in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, who else will? So you got to believe that you have the capability. So when we would talk through her plan of her wanting to be a notary, I said, well, Audrey, I said, let's look at your niche. Let's look at your strengths and your weaknesses. So I'm saying to you today, you guys can do it. You're so creative. You just don't know how much creativity you have. I normally say to people, I say, guys, you're sitting on a gold mine and you don't even realize that you're on this gold mine. Then next, implementation. You have to have an accountability partner so you can stay on track. Even if you say to your accountability partner, let's meet once a month. So in meeting once a month, you're going to agree to what? Say, I'm going to get this, and this set up. I work with a lot of people, and they want you to do all the heavy lifting. That's not going to work for you to be successful. You have to be accountable for actions. Set aside 1 day per week and focus on your game plan. Get help when needed from a professional. You don't know it all. You're not supposed to know it all. So go and seek help. Small business development centers all throughout the country. in different locations. Make an appointment with the Small Business Development Center. You're going to have to talk to advisors. That's why they're there. Count the costs and stay realistic. Here's what really gets me about some folks. They want to do $50 million deals and they haven't done $1,000 deals. You're skipping steps. They want to leap to a $50 million deal and they haven't done $1,000 deal. Stay realistic. Get your mind right and stay on track. Because why? It's a process. You got to learn processes. See, this new economy, automation, this is going to force you now to rethink some things. You can't skip steps. You got to go through the process. And lastly, it's okay if you change your plans. What happens a lot of times, we get so stuck and we don't want to change our plans. We want to hold on to a plan that doesn't work. If it doesn't work, it just doesn't work. You know, I'm a person that I tell people, don't bring me a plan if you don't want to hear me critique it. I say, if you coming to me and I critique it and I tell you this is not going to work, it's because I'm telling you because I know how these systems are working. And so people will come to me and they'll get upset with me when I say you shouldn't do it. And guess what happens? They waste time. And time is something you can't get back. So when you say that you have a mentor or you have somebody and you run a plan by them and they're telling you not to go in that direction and you do anyway, and you come up with a false positive, whereas the outcome did not occur that you thought was going to occur, your mentor would have saved you that time, but you got to be open and willing to listen. You got to be open and willing to hear tough decisions you need to make, whether you like it or not. I have another client. He was trying to start a security company. I told him what to do, told him how to get in position. This was in 2020 in January. Well, guess what? He didn't move. Now he decides to move, but get that time span. He comes back to me a whole year and a half later. The time span, all of the time that was wasted when he could have moved on this in 2020. So I just said, here, you're going to have to go to small business development. And you're going to have to start with them and allow them to help you. But really, you got to listen to wisdom. When somebody gives you wisdom, listen to it. So before we take questions, I want to make sure you understand assessment. I did that. Let's go back to game plan, creating a game plan. Really, I want you to start with yourself. What's your strengths? What's your weaknesses? Be honest. What you don't know won't hurt you. You just have to find the right people who do know. You need to list 3 potential opportunities and break each opportunity into 3 segments: short term, medium, and long term. Especially if you're about to come to retirement. Here's why. If you think that your retirement dollars are going to go far and stretch, you have a false illusion, a false reality. Inflation and the cost of living is about to change as we move into 2022, 2023, that you don't want to be in a situation saying, oh, I got to get back to work, or I got to get another job. I want you to take that time now and begin to assess your plans for retirement. Will you have enough money? You need to sit down with your advisors. That's why they're there, making sure that you stay on track and have the right plan. So when we look at the game plan, we got to start with those strengths and weaknesses. When we look at the implementation plan, we have to now begin to have what? An accountability partner. With this accountability partner, this person is going to help you stay on track. You're going to say, okay, here are my goals for this month. I need you to help stay on track. You talk to your accountability partner. Here's what I'm having trouble with. What do you think I should do? There's someone who you can bounce this off of so that you can move and keep moving consistently. Then I ask you to set aside 1 day per week and focus on your plan. Get help when needed from a professional. Go to your small business development area. They have one. It's free. Take advantage of it, guys. Count the cost, stay realistic, and know this. It is okay for you to change your plans. So we got a couple of minutes because I know we have some questions. And so let's take some questions, Miss Willie, from our audience. I can't see it, so she's going to have to be the one to navigate me. So here's what I want you to do also while I'm waiting for her to come back online. June 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, the Zam Westinghouse Junior Community Outreach Center will have their Juneteenth Economic Forum. It will be online. So please make sure that you mark the date. Our website is www.zwhjcoc.org. And for those who are out there who could put the website in the chat, please do it and register, because we're preparing for the new normal. And we want to present to you different opportunities. So with those opportunities, we're looking at the sharing economy. These are young people who have developed Airbnbs. They operate that. They have apps. They operate Turo, which is all the sharing economy. We're also going to deal with international living, where they're American citizens, but they've worked in other countries. And then finally, we have Amazon and Oasis Center. They're going to deal with the new workforce. And you need to take notes and hear from people like Amazon, because they're going to be candid with you during our discussion. And then finally, I'm going to come on and we're going to deal with the new economy and group economics. So this lineup is going to be really important for you to now move forward as this whole shift begins to take place. Because the fourth industrial revolution now is our next leg into this whole new cashless society. The goal is for you to own nothing. You could go to the IMF website and type in the Great Reset. You need to understand what this whole reset, this whole global reset that will take place, and how you as an American will become effective. So looking at this great reset, we need to now be aware and on how to position ourselves. And in positioning ourselves, we will have to take advantage of some opportunities and work together. So I'm big on collaboration. We do it here at the Zam Westinghouse Junior Community Outreach Center. We collaborate with for-profit companies like Amazon and nonprofit companies like Senior Stores, Oasis Center, Inspiring Leaders of Tomorrow, Vita Tax Center, and UNT Law Clinic. These are people who come together, as well as the Dallas Independent School District. We come together, we collaborate, and we try to do what is best for the community moving forward. Collaboration is going to be the key, folks. I know many of you like to work by yourselves, but You're going to have a good team of collaborators. Also, one of my biggest phrases to my tribes is, you're going to have to become engaged. You're going to have to get in the game. You cannot sit on the sidelines and don't think that this stuff won't affect you. You have to be a part of the solution. And only you will have that opportunity to make those changes. So hopefully Willie is ready, but if she isn't, I would like for everyone to put questions in the chat, because I know we're coming up to the last 9 or so many minutes. And I just hope that you enjoyed this presentation. Remember, please go and get the report. Let me share my screen again for you guys so that you can have this report. Please take this information down. Careers in Crisis report. Please read that report. It's dated April 2021, and it's how Black women in the United States' largest industry were left behind in COVID-19 pandemic. So that's one aspect. And then also, I want you to read the stimulus plan or the infrastructure bill that President Biden is putting forth. And also, I would like for you to read the GOP plan that they're putting forth. And I want you to understand this. We don't have a one size fits all. Both plans are going to have something good. So what you have to understand is this. You need to now say, what is going to work for you individually? And the reason why I'm saying that, because we want you to have the dialogue with your Congress people in your districts. They need, and I understand it. Urban districts, our Congress people sometimes don't come back and have the discussion. You need to have the discussion with your congressmen and women and say, look, we need to see how these bills are going to affect us. And I want to encourage you to call them today and ask them to discuss both plans, not just one, both plans, so that you could be informed on how the changes within our economy are going to take place. And by doing that, you can be more educated on the shifts. And once the vote goes through, you'll know what to do and how to navigate. So there's 3 things you need to read. Careers in Crisis. You also need to read the Biden infrastructure bill. I want you to read the GOP infrastructure plan. I would like for grassroots organizations now to be proactive and call their Congress representatives and ask them to meet with them or have some Zoom or town hall Zoom to discuss the plan. Why? You need to know how it's going to affect you. You need to hear both sides of the story, not just one side. This is crucial. This is very important so that we can navigate through this new trajectory. And understanding it is going to be crucial. And I know some people may feel lost, but don't feel that it doesn't make a difference. They're going to do what they want to do. Don't feel that way. You just need to make sure you have some understanding now and make a difference so that you can prepare. Because if you become prepared, guess what? You're good. And let me just share with you what happened here. In September 2019, we met at Fraser House. Fraser House is located in Southern Dallas. It's a former elementary school building that was refurbished by the district for social services. So in September 2019, after meeting with the tribes, I said to them, look, guys, we're going to have to sort of be prepared for what's the shifts that are going to happen in 2020. So I would go over a timeline because I was reading the bills, I was reading the reports, and I said to my class, I said, look, I want you to stack up on some FEMA goods. So my assistant gave them the FEMA list, and they began stacking up on goods. Well, guess what happened in February? In February, we have the pandemic coming. And February, March, that time period, really in March, the pandemic hit. My class did not have to go in to get water, or my class didn't have to deal with all of the chaos and pandemonium. And so our goal here is to prepare you in a way so you won't have to deal with the chaos and the pandemonium. We just want you to be on the right side of the wealth transfer. But in being on the right side of the wealth transfer, it takes some due diligence on your part. It takes some work on your part. So we want you to be on the right side of the wealth transfer. And in being on the right side of the wealth transfer, reading these reports, reading the bills, understanding the information, getting with the right people will make a difference. So I hope that I brought you information you needed today. Thank you for tuning in and joining with us, because we know that this information is really, really important. I'm sort of waiting for Willie to come back. So if you had any questions, I could, be able to answer them. But again, my name is Frances Smith-Dean. I'm the Executive Director of the Zan Wesley Holmes Jr. Community Outreach Center. I want to thank the Women of Progress for hosting a monthly report on the state of the economy as well as finances so that you could do really, really well before this wealth transfer occurs. Our leader, Willie Jones, she does a fantastic job with the Women of Progress as she leads them into this new territory. Ms. Willie, thank you for coming back on.
Well, thank you so much. I was listening.
Go ahead, you muted.
I was listening from the other room, and you did a fantastic job.
You're still
as
muted.
Usual.
You muted.
Yeah, I was listening from the other room, and you did a fantastic job as usual. We are so excited about this new programming that's going to empower so many individuals. And I like to say with women specifically who are listening, is going to empower our pocketbooks. So yes. That's great news. So we thank you so much for your service to this organization, and we look forward to seeing you next month, first Thursday, yeah. Same time, same place. Okay, thank you much.
Do they have any questions? Did they put any questions in the chat?
We're going to email you those questions. And
okay.
And then also, if people gave their contact information, we'll email them their responses, or we'll inbox them with their. And I'm sure we have several. I have somebody monitoring it, and then also the ones that we don't get to connect with, Francis, you can also answer those questions next month. Okay.
Okay, good. Okay. Thank you so much, Billy.
Okay.
I enjoyed my time. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We truly appreciate it.
And I just want to remind folks, if you'd like to share this podcast with others, go to videos on the same page and just hit the share button, and you can share it out to your friends by text or email, and then at any time on our Facebook page. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we look forward to you coming back at the same time next month. Thank you, Francis. Have a great day.
You too.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.